I don't know if you remember in my how we homeschool kind of video, I was talking about how we're starting up a new like homeschool co-op this year. Oh wow. Hello sun. Let's see if we can find a little more shade. We actually have our first homeschool co-op dinner. So basically this is us with 2 other families, and one of my contributions to this whole thing is a monthly like family dinner. And I thought, you know what, with it being just in the peak of fall and the leaves are stunning out there, we should do kind of a barn party. Now unfortunately our barn is actually full of straw, so we can't have it in the barn, but we're gonna do it in the garage. We have some tables set up there, we as in Josh, with some straw bales around it for seating to kind of give that same feel. So anyways, that is what's on the agenda for today. My outfit today is just this very cozy little sweater dress. Again, we are dealing with beautiful sunshine, filming a little bit of a challenge right now. It is from Inherit Clothing Co. I've had it for, I guess, right around a year, and loved it like pre-pregnancy, but it actually totally works with a bump as well. So cheers for anything I can find that fits these days. We are finished at the pelvic floor therapist and it went really well, I think, but I just feel kind of exhausted after. It feels kind of like when you go for a massage sometimes, you just feel kind of like wrung out. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now, but we have, what's the time? It is 3:07 right now. Dinner is around 6:30, so we have a couple more things to do at home, but not a ton, so hopefully we'll get it done on time. These are the bread bowls that I made yesterday. They're just sourdough bread, my typical bread recipe, and then my plan is, I started cutting them over here, but I'm just basically cutting a circle, and then that they can use this to put the chili in. It's most of the filling I was able to keep on here, but there is, I've done these 2 bowls so far, and I have just a little bit of kind of like filling, I guess. That'll be good for like breadcrumbs or something like that, but then I'll serve it with butter and they can butter this and eat it with the chili. So I need to go through all of these and cut out the bowl shapes. I saw these on Amazon, was it yesterday, 2 days ago, and ordered 2 of them to put on the tables. And then we just have little dahlias. Tyra actually went and picked these for us. Thought it would add a little splash of color and be a fun thing. So anyway, we need to get all of that taken out. I think the other homeschool kids and the moms will be here in about half an hour, so they'll probably help set things out. I have just a couple of toppings here for the sundaes. The original plan was to do caramel apples. That did not work. I experimented. Maybe some of you can give me some tips, but my caramel was not sticking. Now granted, I didn't have the caramel, like the wrapped caramels, which online it looks like that's the way to go. I tried it in a different way and it was not going. So what we decided to do is sundaes. So I made an apple crisp and we have some vanilla ice cream, and then the kids can just put caramel sauce and toppings on top. So that's what these are for.
We will trust in you. We will trust, we will see you move. We will trust in you. Oh, we will trust, we will see you move. For the good of those you called according to your purpose. For the good of those you called according to your plan. And for the good of those you called according to your purpose. For the good of those you called according to your plan. Well, you are working for the good. You are working for the good.
Actually a number of days later. I had planned to do a lot of filming throughout these past number of days and kind of do like a weekly vlog style, but I have had a pretty rough week again and was just not feeling up to anything. Honestly, mostly been on the couch. So, change of plans, and instead we're going to answer a bunch of y'all's questions from Instagram. I don't have these organized in any single way. I'm just gonna see how many I can get through within a short amount of time. The first one here is actually super sweet. She says, not a question, but I just wanted to say thanks for sharing your inspiring life. That's so kind of you. There were a couple questions about like cleaning schedule, if I have a routine that I follow at home. Again, I feel like currently it is just everywhere, but generally what I like to try to do, since we live in a fairly large house, I try to split it up through the week where like this day I focus on bathroom or you know, whatever area it is, or the bedroom, but generally Saturday would be my main cleaning day where all of us pitch in, we clean the house, and then I like to do little pickups throughout the week. It's more just like, oh, the bathroom looks dirty, let's just quickly stop and clean it up, versus an actual set routine. So kind of a cleaning schedule, but not to the point where I'd like it to be. Another question I've been getting, actually a couple of places, this one says, how do you stay so perfectly fit even during pregnancy? That is awfully kind of you to say. I'm generally a very active person, which I know people often think like, oh, you need to be active during pregnancy, and there are so many benefits to staying active during pregnancy. Highly, highly recommended if you can, but I think it also helps like between pregnancies. I know with my last one, before I got pregnant with Avi, I was probably the most fit I've ever been. I was doing the insanity workout, absolutely loved it. It is crazy intense and was in really good shape, but then because of health issues was on the couch literally basically the entire pregnancy and ended up gaining 60 pounds with her, which is the most I've ever gained. Honestly, I have gone from not gaining any weight at all, which that's a whole story in itself. That was shortly after I had Lyme disease and was losing a lot of weight from the sickness of that during my, anyways, it's a long thing, but basically I was lighter when the day I delivered her than the day I got pregnant with her. She was perfectly healthy. I was finally healthy. With Hudson and Leslie, it was kind of generic, and then with Abby, I gained 60 pounds. So I've literally been all over the map. Even gaining 60 pounds, I did not end up actually getting diastasis recti, I think it's called, where your abs separate. And my midwife was so surprised when she checked me and was like, oh my goodness, I've rarely seen abs this good after giving birth, period. And I very much attribute that to having worked out so intensely before getting pregnant. It is like, even though it felt like 9 months on the couch, gaining tons of weight, hardly even recognizing myself, I felt like I was still benefiting from all the hard work I had put in before. So just saying that, I guess, as an encouragement if you are in similar shoes. This pregnancy, again, has been really difficult in that way. I am so disappointed that I haven't been able to be more active, because not only do you look better, but you feel so much better. And that's honestly what motivates me to do it. And then when you know how much better you could feel, but physically are not able to exercise and do what you know would help you, is hard. Anyways, we'll get there one day at a time. We are getting closer. But I would definitely say lots of protein, which that's the one thing I can still do. I highly base my meals, snacks, everything around protein. And then trying to limit carbs and sugars really helps. And then if you can, be active, like even just a 1 mile walk a day makes a huge difference. Most fun, enjoyable things to do with your children. I love that question. I love being with my kids, spending time with them. I would say going on walks. We love going on walks. In fact, I joke that we look like a parade when we go for a walk, because it's usually me pushing the stroller with the littlest one, a couple kids on bikes. Kyra rides her pony often when we're out walking. And then we have a big Newfoundland dog that's almost the size of the pony, and she'll come along. And then we have a little toy poodle who's also like skippering along, and then sometimes followed by 1 or 2 cats. So we are not your typical family walk, but it's great. We love it. I love the fresh air, and of course the kids also love the fresh air. And then I would say my second favorite thing is baking with them. I love spending time with my kids in the kitchen and teaching them skills and seeing the delight on their faces as they create these delicious foods. Do you have little man's name picked out? Naming can be so hard. It can be so hard. We do not. So taking any and all suggestions. How do you balance your love for and stresses of content creation? Don't focus on numbers too much, I would say. Really helps. Focus on, build your platform or whatever you're doing on things that you truly love and things that are already part of my life. So my content is very much revolved around what's actually going on in my life. I do not take on a lot of brand deals at this point. I'm super picky who I work with, which you've probably noticed. I don't do a lot of brand stuff at this point. And things like that, just really narrowing it down, I think really helps. And then when you're not working with brands, you can be a lot more flexible. Like I've been the last couple weeks, especially just mostly having to do with not feeling well. I can't be as on the dot as I like to be with, you know, filming and uploading always at the exact same time, but I'm doing my best, and that's all that matters. I know if you're in it for the long run, you have to do it in a way that's sustainable and that you enjoy and that does not stress you out. Do you have certain days to do things in your home? So some of them. I feel like I'm pretty like fly by the seat of my pants type of girl. If I see something that needs to be done, then I just do it. But I do have some things. So I do laundry normally on Mondays and Fridays. I know. So many people say you should do it every single day, a load a day, love it. I do not love it. I have tried it. It's not for me, but I do have my set apart laundry days, and that seems to be working well for us. Saturdays usually, like I said, are kind of bigger cleaning day. I think a key to staying on top of things is doing it in little increments. So throughout the summer, normally I will have a bit of a schedule where like this day of the week I'm gonna go through this flower bed. Any weeds, just pick them out. Spreading that out to different flower beds or the vegetable garden or whatever, different days, keeps it from feeling overwhelming. Like this day I have to spend the whole day doing this. And rather just spreading it out. Then getting to each of them once a week almost eliminates the weeds. Like there's very few weeds that actually have time to sprout up and get big before you've nicked them in the bud, and also keeps the weed seeds from spreading. So I want to incorporate that more into the house. What I'd love to do is also get on a schedule with the house, because if you think of like, oh, let's do fall cleaning or let's do spring cleaning, it can feel really overwhelming to think of the entire house. But taking it one room at a time, where you are deep cleaning the whole room, going through the closet and staying on top of it that way, can be really helpful, taking it in little bite-sized pieces. Name of the favorite flowers that you grow, specifically the light colored ones. Yes, I imagine you're talking about our dahlias, probably the Cafe Au Lait. My favorite place to buy dahlia tubers is Eden Brothers, and I believe they grow zones 5 through 11. Let me double check that. Where'd you get your dress from? I think I was actually wearing this dress in the picture on Instagram. It is from New Flora, like almost all my clothes. Speaking of which, I'm actually planning to do a closet sale over on Instagram in a couple of weeks. Probably like mid-ish November. So if you're interested on getting a lot, well, seriously, a huge pile by now, of dresses at a much discounted price, you might want to hop over there and follow me there. What is your go-to recipe for hosting? I would say I tend to go either Mexican. I grew up eating a lot of Mexican foods. Fun fact, my mom actually was born in Mexico and lived there till she was 9 years old. And then we actually lived in Mexico later as a family again for a little while. And so we love some good Mexican food. So that's usually my go-to. Often that would be like maybe fajitas with rice and then refried beans, with homemade tortillas, salad, you know, kind of around that. Potato bars, another kind of go-to. And if it is like a Sunday night, it would often be homemade ice cream with waffles, or a like charcuterie board like I showed you in my last video, just on a more like extravagant scale. Would you move back to Canada if you could? That's a good question. I definitely miss the people a lot, but I don't miss much else. I love the landscape here. I obviously have built close friendships here over time. This is where my husband is. This is where our farm is. So yeah, I would say the only thing is the people, and then also December, from December 1 through 25, because you get a snow globe winter there. But unfortunately it lasts till like March or April, and I'm ready for spring come January 1 usually. How do you cultivate joy in this entitled world we live in? That's such a good question. Honestly, something that I have been thinking of a lot recently, just because mentally it's been really hard for me to accept all the things I've had to deal with this pregnancy again, feeling like I've worked so hard, not even just with exercise, but even with nutrition and with just different things like that, that it feels unfair that I should deal with these things in pregnancy now. I really don't want this time to be wasted. Like, when we go through hard times in our life, it does not mean that that should be a place of sadness or depression, which I've definitely struggled with some over the past number of months. So I've been thinking, especially over the last week, I would say a lot about how can I still be just joy-filled, both for myself. You have such a much better outlook on life, and I have cried so much over the last number of months, and I don't want it to be that way. Like, I know that this is a season, and anyway, so first thing I would say, pray about it. I have prayed so much about that specifically. It seems kind of cliche maybe, but if you've read the book 1000 Gifts, highly recommend it, by Anne Voskamp. She talks about going through, I think she did an entire year where each day she wrote down something that she's thankful for. And at first, you know, you might do kind of the generic things like, I'm thankful for my family, I'm thankful for salvation, I'm thankful for my house, I'm thankful for, you know, all those things which are great to mention. But then after a month or whatever, you have to start getting deeper, and it can be such a beautiful way to stay positive even when there's so much negativity, but also noticing all the blessings that you have around. For myself, I like to do that with my camera. I find if I take my camera out, I notice beauty in things a lot more. So that's something I've been trying to implement as much as I can, and also do that for the kids. I'll try to link it below. There's a little gratitude journal that you can get that's a kid's version. And I really try to ingrain this in my kids as well, that no matter like how disappointed we might be one day over like the weather didn't turn out like we thought and we couldn't go to this play date or things like that, that we always have something to be thankful for no matter what. So I feel like gratefulness produces joy and is a great place to start to just be more joy-filled. Playing a lot of worship music really helps. I love to play my audio Bible. Focusing on truth and beauty really helps. What is your kitchen countertop made of? I believe it's quartz. I'll double check with Josh. and let you know right here if it's different. How do you dress feminine in cold weather? So first of all, I don't only wear skirts and dresses. I will occasionally wear jeans, but it's more and more rare, I feel like. And obviously, if it's a really long dress, you can wear leggings underneath it. I don't love the look of like a calf length dress with leggings underneath of it. I would sooner put on like maybe a wool skirt underneath. Really helps. Boots can help stay warm, and then just like layering and wearing thick fabrics, or like a knee-length skirt with leggings underneath. I don't know, those are some things that come to mind off the top of my head. If you have some more to add to that, let me know down below. How do you keep being joyful during the postpartum season? Currently overwhelmed. I'm sorry. Yeah, rest, recover, eat nutritious foods, play a lot of worship music, stay in the Word. Do you gel paint, manicure, or paint yourself? Neither of them actually. Nail polish does not stay on my fingers for 2 hours, I don't think. When I do my nails, I will use red aspens. They're like a stick-on nail, but it doesn't damage your nail. I usually have them linked down below. I'll make sure that that's still the case. I'm usually really rough on my hands. I know most people say like, you get 2 weeks solid out of them. I'm no office lady, y'all. I work in the dirt and wash dishes and all of that. I would say they last more like a week or two, but then you can often like re-glue them on for a while. Your favorite part of the day? I love this question. I love mornings. Normally in the summer times, we would often go on a family walk after dinner, which is always so special when you see all the fireflies out, and it's just kind of magical. You're unwinding, Josh and I can catch up, and the kids are having fun biking. That's always special, but I don't know if you can really call that favorite part of the day. It's more like of a season or something. So, did your pelvic floor PT check for can't say that word, bladder prolapse? I had your symptoms with my third and had prolapse. Yes, she actually did, and I do not have bladder prolapse. I'm actually encouraged with how much better that whole pelvic floor situation is going. I think the exercises have really, really helped continuing to do them. But yeah, right now that is not my biggest problem. Anyway, super thankful for that, and I think I'm gonna stop there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you were inspired, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden things.